Okay, so today we're dealing with a corporate virus, one that infects organizations of literally all sizes. We're talking everything from local school districts right up to massive global banks. We are diagnosing bad strategy. For this explainer, we're drawing directly from Chapter 3 of Richard Rumelt's landmark book, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, and we're going to explore a core premise that might actually surprise you. See, bad strategy isn't simply the absence of a good strategy. It's not just a plan that happened to fail or a simple miscalculation. It is an actively false edifice. It has a logic all its own that just sort of floats above real analysis and the actual hard work of making choices. Here is our diagnostic roadmap for today. First, we'll look at identifying bad strategy. Then we'll break down the 4 symptoms. Hallmark 1 is fluff. Hallmark 2, unfazed challenges. Hallmark 3, goals versus strategy. And finally, Hallmark 4, bad objectives. All right, Section 1, identifying bad strategy. Which brings us right to Hallmark 1, fluff. You know, the creeping spread of bad strategy really thrives when leaders actively avoid analyzing the actual obstacles in front of them. And it almost always starts with fluff. Fluff is an incredibly common corporate disease. It's basically the illusion of high-level thinking. People use these inflated Sunday words and esoteric buzzwords to mask a complete lack of substance. It is quite simply gibberish masquerading as a strategic concept. Just look at this sheer bloat for a second. Our fundamental strategy is one of customer-centric intermediation. I mean, have you ever sat in a meeting and heard something exactly like that? This was a real internal strategy memo from a major retail bank. And sure, it sounds impressive at first glance, right? Sounds highly analytical. But when we actually pull off that fluffy covering, what are they actually saying? Well, that fancy Sunday word intermediation simply means they accept deposits and lend them to others. And customer-centric? Well, an examination of their policies revealed no unique service or distinct terms whatsoever. So, stripped of all its buzzwords, this grand high-level strategic statement translates to, we accept deposits and lend them. We are a bank. That's it. It is a superficial restatement of the obvious, offering absolutely zero strategic advantage. Next up is Hallmark 2, unfazed challenges. A strategy is, by its very definition, a way through a difficulty. It's an approach to overcoming an obstacle. Therefore, you can't possibly solve a problem that you absolutely refuse to define. This classic hockey stick profit projection perfectly illustrates the danger of ignoring obstacles. This comes from International Harvester's 1979 Corporate Strategic Plan. At the time, Harvester was a massive corporation, and their new CEO, Archie McCardle, brought in all these modern planners who produced a thick sheaf of paper promising exactly what you'd expect, an immediate recovery from decline, followed by a steady, magical rise in profit. The plan was incredibly detailed, aiming to increase market share across all divisions, from agricultural equipment all the way to gas turbines. But looking at this detailed, incredibly confident plan, we have to ask a rhetorical question here. Where is the elephant? You can't discern the elephant by studying their strategic plan, because their plan completely ignored the massive obstacles standing right in front of them. The elephant in the room was Harvester's grossly inefficient work organization. They had a deep-seated labor issue, literally the worst labor relations in American industry. This was a problem so deeply rooted, it dated all the way back to the 1886 Haymarket riot in Chicago. Their work rules allowed workers with seniority to just transfer jobs at will, which created this cascade of costly, totally disruptive transfers. Now, you cannot solve an organizational nightmare like that by simply telling your managers to, grow market share and buy new equipment. Because they refused to define this critical challenge, they didn't actually have a strategy, they just had a budget and a wish list. And the result? A catastrophic 6-month strike, billions of dollars lost, and the eventual dismemberment of the entire company. Moving right along to Hallmark 3, mistaking goals versus strategy. Leaders frequently fall into the trap of treating strategy work as this sort of motivational exercise in goal setting. Rather than doing the hard work of problem solving, let's clearly define the difference here because it's important. A goal is an overall value or desire. It's what you want to happen. A strategy is the actionable plan designed to overcome a specific obstacle. Strategy is the bridge between what you want and how you are actually going to get there. Too many corporate strategic plans are basically just 3-year rolling budgets combined with market share projections. That's a statement of desire, right? Not a path forward. Let's look at a prime example of this confusion from the source text, Chad Logan's 2020 plan.
Logan was a CEO who proudly declared his strategy was to achieve 20% revenue growth each year alongside a 20% profit margin. Okay, but when pressed on how this would actually be achieved, he pulled out a quote from Jack Welch about how reaching for the impossible often allows you to actually do the impossible. And that was it. Pure willpower. Logan's plan completely lacked actionable steps or any insight into how to overcome actual market obstacles. It was pure ambition. And hey, while ambition is great, for sure, simply being ambitious is not a strategy. And finally, hallmark 4, bad objectives.
Rumelt basically divides bad strategic objectives into two distinct pitfalls. First, you've got the dog's dinner. This is a scrambled mess of totally unrelated targets, usually born out of planning meetings where leaders try to appease every single stakeholder's wish without actually focusing resources. Then, on the other side, we have blue sky objectives. These occur when a leader simply restates the challenge as the goal, completely skipping over the annoying little fact that nobody has a clue how to actually achieve it.
To really illustrate the dog's dinner, just look at this staggering number, 234. Back in 2006, the Los Angeles Unified School District, which is the largest in the nation, by the way, released a strategic plan for high-priority schools. It contained 7 strategies, 26 tactics, and a whopping 234 action steps. That is the absolute definition of a dog's dinner. It's just a giant long list of things to do, completely mislabeled as a strategy that fundamentally fails to focus energy on the 1 or 2 pivotal objectives that could actually create a cascade of favorable outcomes. So what about blue sky objectives? Well, one of that exact same school district's key strategies was to build leadership capacity. They stated transformational leaders need a strongly focused program to define, sharpen, and apply critical skill sets in their everyday work. Wow, it sounds incredibly nice, right? But it simply restates the desired state. It essentially says we need great leaders to do great things, but it offers absolutely no clue on how they are actually going to find, train, or incentivize these transformational leaders given their current resources. It's just an empty call to the blue sky above.
So, Section 6, the antidote, which is hard choices and cohesive action. The antidote to the fluff, the unfazed challenges, the wishful goals, and the messy objectives is making hard choices. It is defining the problem honestly, focusing your resources, and coordinating cohesive action to actually punch through that obstacle. So armed with your newly acquired BS detector, I want to leave you with a provocative question to take back to your own desk today. Look past the Sunday words. Look past the fancy PowerPoint templates. Ask yourself honestly, is your company's strategy a coherent battle plan designed to overcome your biggest obstacles, or is it just a fluffy wish list?